There's several precautions that should be taken when you're doing a chromatography. The first thing is that the baseline should be drawn with pencil and not with ink. So we need it to be in pencil so that there is no interference that happens in the chromatogram. If it's in ink, the ink will also separate. The second precaution is that the spot of sample should be small. If you have a sample that is big, the spots that are going to be produced are going to be big as well, and it's going to be very hard to find the RF value, one, and also if you have 2 or 3 spots that are being sampled on that same chromatogram, the spots may mix with each other, so it will be difficult for you to interpret. The pencil line should always be above the solvent level. So the solvent level is here. So that's the solvent level. So if the spot is below the solvent level, what will happen is that everything that is in the mixture here will dissolve inside the solvent. So the solvent will be contaminated with the sample, and while it's moving up the chromatography paper, everything is going to be contaminated because the solvent is not going to be separating anything because everything is mixed in the solvent. So no separation will take place. The fourth precaution is that it should be performed in a covered beaker. If the beaker is not covered, if you're using solvents such as alcohol, because they are volatile, they are going to evaporate. So you're going to lose your solvent. And the last precaution is that the solvent front should be near the top of the paper. So you should allow the solvent to move to the top of the paper. Why is that? Because if it's if it hasn't been allowed enough distance to be covered, if you don't allow it to travel for a long distance enough, when you're calculating the RF value, the distance covered by the solvent is going to be very small, and the distance covered by the spots is going to be even smaller. So RF value calculations are going to be inaccurate because the values are small. So to have more accurate values of RF value, we need the solvent to move as far as possible. So this is going to make our chromatography more accurate. Now, chromatography is usually carried out with colored substances. So anything that has color, like dyes, additives that have color, can be separated by chromatography. But if you have colorless substances, such as amino acids, proteins are made up of amino acids, and by identifying the amino acids present, you can identify which protein we are referring to. So if you have colorless substances, then you need to use a locating agent. A locating agent is going to turn the colorless spots into colored spots, so that we can calculate the RF value or identify the substances. So one example of a locating agent is ninhydrin. So this is specifically used to turn amino acid spots into a colored spot. Okay, so with this we complete chromatography.